Oh hey, didn't see you there. Now that you're here, let's talk about some voting systems.
What?
Hi, my name's Ken. There are four main ways to resolve voting when voting for seats. The four main methods are majoritarian, proportional, plurality, and mixed hybrids. Plurality is effectively just the one to win. You only have to get more votes than who comes in second. Mixed hybrids are simply a mix between the other three methods, such as majoritarian and proportional voting mixed together. I'll now hand you over to James, who will do the next two.
Majoritarianism is where a party only needs to get more than 50% of the votes to gain seats in Parliament, and proportional representation is where the amount of votes a party gets on the whole is represented in how many seats they get in Parliament.
Go.
Hi, I'm Josh. And today we're going to be talking about closed lists. Okay, the closed list system works through proportional representation. It's mainly used in the EU, and basically the way the system works is they take all the votes into account. They then choose the party with the most votes, and then that person gets a seat. Then the total amounts of vote that the party who has the most votes is divided by the amount of seats they have. So in the first case it will be 1, and then they add 1 onto that. And then this system just continues round, so the next party with the most votes after the equation has been calculated then gains a seat, and then their party is divided by the number of seats they have, which will be 1, add 1. And then say if the first party again had the most, they would gain another seat, but then the original amount of votes they had would then be divided by the amount of seats they now have, which is 2 plus 1. And this system continues round until they gain the total amount of seats.
The advantages of closed list are the voters vote for the parties, not the candidates, which means they'll think more about the policies. Every vote is of equal value, and the outcomes of the elections are highly proportional.
So the disadvantages for closed list could be the fact that using the D'Hondt formula, which is used to calculate how the seat's given, so you'd get the overall votes, whoever has most, you'd give them a seat, you divide it by the amount of seats plus 1. The D'Hondt system can be awkward, difficult to understand and use practically if you're not 100% sure on it.
Now I will be talking about supplementary voting systems. Okay. The supplementary voting system is a majoritarian system. It is mainly used when electing mayors. This system is very similar to AV, but it's a much more simpler version. Basically, every person gets 2 votes. They first vote for their favourite party, and then they will vote for their second favourite party. The system works, basically all the parties' votes are tallied up, and if a party gets above 50%, then they automatically win. But if the parties do not get a 50% vote, then all of the votes except the 2 highest will then be evenly distributed onto the 2 remaining parties, and then that should obviously lead to a victor.
The advantages of supplementary voting are every voter has 2 choices, so their first choice does not win the election. Their vote isn't going to be wasted. The other advantage is that the winner is guaranteed to have an overall majority, because any losers' votes get sent to their second choice.
Okay, so the disadvantages of supplementary vote are the fact that you could still theoretically win without 50% of the votes if you're in the last 2 and all of the second preference votes help push you over the 50%. Second disadvantage could be the fact that people only get 2 votes, so there could be quite a lot of wasted votes overall if the 2 candidates people vote for don't end up in the final two if someone doesn't get over 50%.
Now I'm going to be talking about additional member systems. The additional member system is a hybrid between first past the post and also proportional representation. Okay, it's mainly used in Scottish and Welsh assemblies. It works by first past the post to start with by the party who wins the most votes. So they got 30% and other parties got less. That party then gains 2/3 of the seats in the assembly, and then the remaining seats are given out through proportional representation.
The advantages of the additional member system are, like the supplementary voting system, the voters get two choices on who they want to vote for. The outcome of the election is proportional to the amount of votes that the candidates get, and all parties retain their constituents.
The main disadvantage for additional member system is the fact that it uses two different systems. It uses the first past the post system and it uses the closed list system. The fact it uses two systems can make the voting system quite confusing as a whole.
I will now be talking about the single transferable voting system. The single transferable voting system is a proportional system that is mainly used in most elections in Northern Ireland. This system works by putting forward 6 candidates, usually, in which voters can pick from. These candidates must reach a certain quota, and this quota is figured out by taking the total number of votes, then dividing it by the total number of seats plus 1, and then from the total out, 1 is added again. If a candidate reaches the quota, they and their party are automatically elected and given a certain amount of seats. If only one person is elected, then to find the other 2 remaining ones, usually, they will take the party with the least amount of votes and then take those voters' second preferences and add those votes on to the remaining parties. If a party is not elected still, this is repeated until 3 parties have been chosen.
The advantages of STV are that voters have a wide choice in who they can vote for. The outcome is very proportional to the amount of votes the candidates get, and the voters are able to discriminate between the candidates and their parties.
Okay, so the disadvantages of single transferable vote are quite clear. The fact that people they can only vote for one person, they don't have to vote for all of them. The fact it leads to a lot of coalition governments and power sharing governments, which sometimes works but sometimes doesn't. And the quota that people, like the parties, have to reach are sometimes quite weird to figure out, because it's the number of votes divided by the number of available seats, add 1, and then add 1 again.
Now I'm going to be talking about AV+. The Alternative Voting Plus system is not used in any form of election. This system works by using the normal AV system, in which candidates are voted in order of preference, but it also has a small top-up list sheet in which people can vote for particular parties.
The advantages of AV Plus are voters get a wide choice of who to vote for because they rank their candidates. Every elected MP will get the majority support of their local constituents. And every elector will have 1 vote that will count towards the outcome of the election.
This is the downsides to AV+. The first downside is that even though you can vote multiple times, you don't have to, so you can still only vote for 1 candidate. And also, the boundaries for most constituencies will have to be redrawn, which would take a while or a considerable amount of time and make things more confusing in the long run.
Now I'm going to be talking about the alternate.
What?
Sorry.